Trump has filed an emergency motion with the Supreme Court to stop the sentencing in his New York criminal case, which is set for Friday at 9:30 in the morning. Eric Shawn has been following all of this. Tell me, Eric, what happens now?
Well, right now, Stuart, it's up to the Supreme Court. President-elect Trump's lawyers are filing an emergency motion to the High Court to stop his sentencing on Friday. The bid will first go to Justice Sonia Sotomayor because she handles the jurisdiction of New York. She can then refer it to the full court to decide if Trump's lawyers are correct. They argue that Trump's sentencing on his 34 felony counts for paying off Stormy Daniels should not go forward day after tomorrow because the High Court has already given presidents wide immunity for official acts. They claim, quote, the New York trial court lacks authority to impose sentence and judgment on President Trump or conduct any further criminal proceedings against him. And Trump spokesman Stephen Chung says, quote, the Supreme Court's historic decision on immunity, the Constitution, and established legal precedent mandate that this meritless hoax be immediately dismissed. But Manhattan District Attorney Alvin Bragg counters that Trump's actions were before he was president and were not part of his official duties. The sentencing was allowed to proceed by the New York State Appellate Court, one judge ruling that Trump's arguments over presidential immunity lacked any merit. Associate Justice Ellen Gessmer, who gave the sentencing the green light, questioned Trump's lawyer Todd Blanche's argument about presidential immunity, asking him, quote, do you have any support for a notion that presidential immunity extends to presidents-elect? Blanche responded, there has never been a case like this before, so no. Sotomayor gave prosecutors until 10 a.m. this morning, about 20 minutes from now, to answer their response. Judge Merchan has indicated, though, that he will impose what's called a conditional discharge on the president-elect on Friday. If this goes forward, that means Mr. Trump will face no sanctions, such as a fine and no jail time. Stu?
Got it. Thanks very much indeed. Former House Speaker Newt Gingrich joins me now. Newt, are Trump's legal troubles just about over? I asked the question because Senator Schiff from California says, you know, I know you're laughing, he's going to continue to investigate Trump in his second term.
Well, of course he is. I mean, look, President Trump has been through 9 years of everybody on the left trying to destroy him because he is the greatest threat to their world that we've seen in my lifetime. And so they're going to do everything they can every day. It's why I keep trying to tell Republicans that thinking about victory in 26 is vital, because if we lose the House in 26, we're going to be right back in a Nancy Pelosi warfare environment where the Democrats will try to use investigations, impeachment, whatever they can. I mean, the thing that's going on here, I think, is so important. Donald Trump is a serious person. He actually intends to break up the swamp, to take apart the establishment, to fundamentally reset American government back on constitutional principles. Well, if you're a left-wing advocate, this is a nightmare. This is life and death for them. This is Armageddon. And so they will do anything they can, no matter how stupid or how outrageous. They'll do anything to stop him because he's a mortal threat to their world. As a historian and a former speaker, it's absolutely fascinating.
Do you think that the GOP in the House has sufficient discipline and unity to get through what Trump wants to get through?
Well, I just wrote a newsletter at Gingrich 360 arguing that there should be one bill, that Trump's right, one big, beautiful bill. It should include the border, but more importantly, it should include tax cuts, regulatory reform, be aimed at improving affordability for Americans. I believe he can get one bill through if he spends 2.5 months barnstorming the country. There are at least 12 seats Democrats held in the House that he carried the district. He should be in every one of those districts having a rally in favor of jobs, economic growth, take-home pay, affordability. And I think he will be able to get one big bill through. I worry very much if we split them up because historically the record in the Senate is that it's so slow. Remember, in 2017, the bill didn't pass till December. We lost 40 seats. When Reagan passed the tax cut in 81, they didn't go into effect till 83. We lost 26 seats in 82. If we're going to keep the House, we need one big bill this spring, either Memorial Day, as Speaker Johnson said, I'd accept July 4th, but no later than that. And that will give us enough economic growth that I think Trump will be in tremendous shape. But it's going to be a fight. I mean, we should understand, we did not win a realigning election. We won a de-aligning election. The country right now is waiting to see. If Trump succeeds, he's going to build a coalition like Franklin Roosevelt. But to succeed, he has to get economic growth.
And he's got to get out and barnstorm for that one big, beautiful bill. Newt Gingrich, always a pleasure. Thanks for joining us, sir. We appreciate it.
Thank you.